Ever wonder why so many people have trouble getting in shape and staying in shape, especially as they get older? It's tough. I mean, a lot of people go on diets, they'll do 30-day fitness challenges, but to really stay in shape for weeks and months and years on end, that's pretty rare. For most people, it's very difficult. It's an uphill battle for their entire life, but it doesn't have to be that way. Now, I'm no fitness expert, and this video is not about keto or fasting or six-pack abs or how much you can deadlift. It's about finding the right mindset and the motivation that you need to be a healthy, fit guy, especially as you get older. Before we get into the tips, quick shout out and thank you to today's sponsor and maker of my favorite jump rope, Crossrope. I'll talk about Crossrope more later in the video, but you can click the link in the description anytime to go check them out. Tip number 1, decide what kind of man you want to be. You don't have to make the decision every single night, should I brush my teeth tonight? You just do it because you're the kind of person that brushes your teeth. You're a toothbrusher. It's part of your identity. You don't really have to think about it. It's just who you are. This is why people who are addicted to nicotine or other substances have such a hard time quitting. It's part of their identity. If you're a smoker and you're trying to stop smoking cigarettes, every day you have to deprive yourself of this thing that you want. You're a smoker who can't smoke. It's the same thing with fitness. For most of my 20s, I worked out on and off. I went to the gym and I would use the machines. I would try to get into running, but it was always a struggle. It was an uphill battle because fitness, being a healthy person, wasn't part of my identity. And maybe you feel like that. Maybe you're dragging yourself to the gym, or you hate running, but you do it anyway sometimes because you think that's what you're supposed to do. It doesn't have to be that way. It can be easy, but you have to make it part of your identity. You have to decide that you are a person who cares about his fitness and his health. I care about my appearance, and fitness is a big part of that. So when a few months ago my gym shut down, the old me would have taken that as an excuse to just slack off and stop working out. But the new me, since fitness is part of my identity, it's who I am, I found a way to keep working out. I found a spot on the rooftop of my building, and I started doing jump rope and body weight workouts. It wouldn't make sense to just stop working out because that's not in line with my identity. It would cause too much cognitive dissonance. The point is, you will always struggle with this. You will never be able to find the motivation to exercise and to eat healthy if you don't decide to be that kind of person. Once you decide what kind of person you want to be, you can move on to tip number 2, which is to make some rules. Personally, I've never gone on a diet. I'm really bad at moderation, and so I really like having a few ground rules that I live by no matter what. For example, I don't drink soda. When I go to the grocery store, I never buy soda, ever. I also don't buy junk snacks like Doritos and Oreos. I don't eat at bottom-tier restaurants like McDonald's and Burger King. These aren't guidelines, these are rules, and I follow them to the T every day. Rules can be positive too. For example, I floss every night. It doesn't matter if I'm out of town or on vacation, I floss. And I find that having these always do and never do rules helps to take a lot of the decision making out of my life because I don't have to decide every time I'm presented with a McDonald's, should I eat there? No, I don't eat at McDonald's. It's a rule. It's much easier to live by a few rules than to try to avoid temptation every time it presents itself to you, which, let's be honest, is pretty much every day. So make some rules and live by them. Number 3, fall in love with physical activity. It's been said that the best jobs don't feel like work, and I think that exercise done right feels like play. I never enjoyed exercising, ever. I liked sports when I was a little kid. I loved playing soccer and basketball before I realized that I was going to stop growing at 5'6". Then I stopped playing basketball, but I kept playing soccer, and it never felt like exercise. It was just fun. I was doing it just for fun, and the exercise was just a byproduct. Then I got older, and I started going to the gym and trying to lift weights and running, and I hated it. It was always an uphill battle because it wasn't fun. But one day, I found Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I got way into it. I fell in love with it. I trained for a few years. I got my blue belt. I competed a few times, And don't get me wrong, it was an amazing workout, but that's not why I was doing it. I loved the sport and learning new moves and the camaraderie and the sparring and the mental aspect of martial arts. Recently, the same thing happened with jumping rope. Like I mentioned, I started jumping rope out of necessity after everything shut down in New York, and I had no idea that I was really gonna fall in love with this activity. It's so much fun. Like, I started jumping basically every other day for a few months, and I started to get good at it and learn different moves, and it just became really fun. Sure, it happens to be a great workout, but that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I enjoy it. Eventually, I upgraded from my cheap plastic rope that I got for like $10 from a local sporting goods store to a cross rope, which is like the BMW of jump ropes. Now, if you've ever shopped for jump ropes, you've probably seen a cross rope at the top of pretty much every list. Their weighted ropes are interchangeable, so you can use the same high quality handles with different ropes. I kind of like the 1/4 pound rope that comes with the Get Lean set, but you can go all the way up to the 2-pound rope in the Get Strong set. And let me tell you, these weighted ropes, it's a serious workout. It's a full body engaged workout. Your forearms and your biceps and your back, your abs, your shoulders. You know, when you're swinging a 2-pound rope, you feel it everywhere. They also have a free app called Cross Rope Lite, and it has a bunch of workouts and fitness challenges that you can follow. Personally, I like finding a nice spot outside on a nice day and making up my own interval workouts. For example, I'll do 10 2-minute rounds of jumping with the 1/4 pound rope, and then I'll do body weight exercises in between each round, like push-ups, pull-ups, squats, and lunges. I thought I would get bored of jumping, but honestly, I'm still surprised at how much I look forward to these workouts. I love just freestyling, you know, just jumping, doing some side swipes and some figure eights, some boxer skips, some arm crosses. It's just a lot of fun, it looks cool, and it happens to be an awesome workout. If you want to try jumping, I highly recommend cross rope. Their weighted ropes are great for beginners. It makes it a lot easier to feel the swing of the rope. I made this mistake at the beginning. The rope I was using was way too light, and it made it a lot harder to learn the basics. But they also have speed ropes, and then of course they have heavier ropes if you want more of a challenge. I'll link to them down below in the description, but thanks again to Cross Rope for supporting the channel by sponsoring this video and for making an amazing product. Okay, tip number 4 is to find your why. Even if you love your sport or your exercise routine, there are going to be days where you just don't feel up for it. You just can't really find the motivation. Maybe you had a long day at work, or maybe you didn't sleep very well the night before, but whatever the reason, you just don't feel like working out. My advice is to use whatever motivation works for you. We all have different intrinsic sources of motivation, and it's not about finding the most noble source of motivation. It's about finding whatever type of motivation works for you. For example, maybe you're very competitive. Maybe you don't just want to train jiu-jitsu or just learn how to jump rope. Maybe you want to be the best at your sport. That's great. Use that. And those days when you don't feel like working out, remember, if you want to be the best, you have to go. Maybe you're not competitive. Maybe you're a little bit vain. Maybe you really care about the way you look. You want to have a six-pack. You want to have low body fat percentage. You want to look good in your 40s. You want to look good at the beach. That's great too. A little bit of vanity goes a long way, and there's nothing wrong with caring about how your body looks. Maybe you just want to live longer. You want to increase your lifespan and be healthy into your older age. That's a big part of why I exercise. You know, I want to have a longer lifespan and health span. My point is, it doesn't matter what motivates you. Try to figure it out, that specific thing that really drives you, that really gets under your skin, and just use it. Just tap into it when you need it. And tip number 5 is to track your behavior. There's something very powerful about stringing together multiple days, multiple weeks, months, and even years of consistent good habits. You see your progress, you see this chain of success, and you start to realize that you are becoming, or you have become, the person that you've always wanted to be. And you don't want to break that chain. Now, I use an app for this that I'll link to down below. There are a lot of habit tracking apps, but you could use a pen and paper. It doesn't really matter what you use. The point is, what gets measured gets managed. And so if you're not tracking your workouts, then you really don't know how you're doing. I keep it really simple by just using a binary system. If I worked out, I check the box, and if I didn't, I don't check the box. And my goal is to try to never miss 2 days in a row. So it's okay if I miss a day, but I try not to skip 2 days. Missing 1 day of exercise happens, but missing 2, that's the beginning of a bad streak. Everybody says that when you get older, it gets a lot harder to stay healthy. And I haven't really found that to be true, to be honest. You know, when I was a teenager, people in their 20s would say, wait till you hit 25, things will start slowing down. When I was 25, people say, wait till you hit 30 and your metabolism slows down. And now I'm in my 30s and people say the same thing about your 40s and 50s. So I think it all comes down to deciding what kind of person you want to be and making this stuff a priority in your life. And no one can do this for you. It doesn't matter how much money you have or how successful you are in other areas. Only you can determine your level of fitness and your health. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions for me, leave them down in the comments section below. Thank you as always for watching, and until next time, stay stylish.